Grace and peace to you from God our Father, from Jesus Christ our Lord and Savior. Amen. It's February the 3rd, Wednesday morning. Good to be with you. Um, Again, I forgot this morning, so I'll be doing a take two. This is take two. I forgot to push the little button on the microphone that turns it on. So, I do want to say thank you to the people at UTMB Angleton Danbury. They did a good job yesterday. We've been on the list waiting for the Moderna for a vaccine, and we were given Moderna shots, Ellie and myself. So we're one step closer. We have till March 2nd to get our second vaccine, and then there's then a couple of weeks after that we should be protected. So we will continue to be doing our mask, hand washing, and social distancing, as all people who receive the vaccine should. Um, Continue to struggle. This morning, I'd like to read from the early Christian fathers, and there's a good reason why I look to the Christian fathers. Um, it's just good to remember that these people from the very early church were not just good people, but extremely um, brilliant. We benefit from them um, because they thought and dealt with the issues that we have dealt with. Um, they struggled. They wrote. They wrote what their inspiration down, so that we don't have to constantly be reinventing the wheel. And I know I can look at more modern theologians, and they deal with the difficulties of internet and the distractions of internet, but the same exact distractions happen to people like Saint Cyprian, who was the bishop of Carthage. Uh, he was converted in 246 AD. The church is a baby back then. It's still being persecuted. It's not even part of the Roman Empire yet. And still, it was able to, there was something about the Christian faith, about Christ, and about the community life that helped this man called Cyprian convert. Now, he wasn't a slave, he was a wealthy man. He was very educated. It's obvious by the way he writes. But he was bishop for 9 years before he was martyred. So, but he also, like I said, wrote about things that are important. And Titus 3:5 is the connection that we're going to be using. He wrote, and his this text I'm going to read to you is connected to Titus chapter 3, verse 5. Not by works of righteousness which we have done, but according to his mercy, he saved us through the washing of regeneration and renewing of the Holy Spirit. So Saint Cyprian wrote this, and again, like I said, it's 249 to 258 was his time on earth. So, and here's what he wrote way back then. The one peaceful and trustworthy tranquility, the one solid, firm, constant security is this: to withdraw from the currents of a distracting world and to lift your eyes up from earth to heaven, anchored in the harbor of salvation. To those who have received the gift of God, whose minds are very near to God, can boast that they have completely unconcerned with human things others elevate. One who is greater than the world can crave nothing, can desire nothing from the world. How stable, how free from all shocks that safeguard is. How heavenly is this protection, and its constant blessing, to be freed from the snares of this entangling world, cleansed from earthly muck and made suitable for the light of eternal life by being allowed to know and condemned what we were. We are forced to love even more what we will be. However, it isn't necessary to pay with elaborate effort of bribery or labor to gain dignity or power. These are free gifts from God, accessible to everyone. As the sun naturally shines and as the day gives light, as the fountain flows, as the rain produces moisture, so does the heavenly spirit ingrain itself into us. When the soul, in its gaze into heaven, has recognized its author, it rises higher than the sun and far exceeds all earthly power. It begins to be that which it believes itself to be. When we are able to separate ourselves from the entanglements of this world and lift our eyes from earth to heaven, when we are able to pray without worrying about the, the worldly aspects of today, we are freed to get closer to God. And remember, he's talking to people who are potentially going to be slaughtered for their faith and need to stay close to the witness that is Jesus the Christ. Let us continue with our morning devotions. It comes from 1 Corinthians. It's for Wednesday. If I proclaim the gospel, this gives me no ground for boasting, for an obligation is laid on me, and woe to me if I do not proclaim the gospel. For if I do this of my own will, I have reward. But if not my own will, I am entrusted with a commission. What then is my reward? Just this, that in my proclamation I may make the gospel free of charge, so that as not to make full use of my rights in the gospel. For though I am free with respect to all, I have made myself a slave to all, so that I might win more of them. To the Jews I became as a Jew in order to win Jews. To those under the law I became as one under the law, though I myself am not under the law, so that I might win those under the law. To those outside the law I became as one outside the law, though I am not free from God's law, but I am under Christ's law, so that I might win those outside the law. To the weak I became weak, so that I might win the weak. I've become all things to all people, that I might by all means save some. I do this for the sake of the gospel, so that I may share in its blessings. Pastor Lentnus, Ron Lentnus, says Martin Luther famously said, "A Christian is a perfectly free Lord of all, subject to none. A Christian is a perfectly dutiful servant of all, subject to all." In St. Ignace, Michigan, the grave of Father Jacques Marquette, beloved Jesuit Ignatian missionary to the Huron and Ojibwe people, is marked and honored as one who gave witness to Christ in word and affection, affirming about the native peoples all that are created in the image of God. Arriving from France, he studied native languages and cultures for 2 years. In his missionary journeys, he widened the sense of the gospel by including it within the native understanding of God while proclaiming the Savior Christ. Adjacent to his memorial is a white chapel converted into a store and museum. Pictures tell the story of the infamous boarding schools, where First Nation children were separated from their parents, justified by the mantra, "Kill the Indian, save the man." Contrary to Father Marquette, witness and servanthood can be twisted We are graced and called to give loving, inclusive, Christ-like witness as servants to all. Let us pray. Global inclusive Christ, you have created us as part of humankind. Continue to open us to all as witness servants of inclusive love. Amen. This morning, I want to include my good friend Steve Charleston, partly because he speaks to grief. And in the last year, many of you know I lost my brother and my mother, both to degenerative diseases. My brother didn't have Alzheimer's, but had a type of dementia that was caused by a lack of blood flow to his brain. And my mother suffered something very similar, but it had also components of Alzheimer's. So both types of dementia. And I'm not sure when, but this morning, Steve's writing was a great comfort to me. So I share from Steve Charleston's Facebook post. Please join me in this word of recognition and respect to all those who are grieving. It seems like last year was a season of grieving. It surfaced such a sense of loss among us. For some, it was a reminder of a grief that they have been carrying for years, always present, never forgotten. For some, it may have been a new, sudden loss, the opening of an empty space in the center of their lives. For some, grief is a remembrance. For others, a regret. For all of us, a litany of memories strung together on threads of love. Whoever you may be, whatever the source of your grief, I want to offer my prayers and those of every person who will join me to ask for comfort and insight and a way forward for you. Our stories may be very different, but we are all bonded in the experience of loss. Your grief touches the soul of so many. Let their understanding surround you with its witness to the love we all share, both in this life and in the life to come. Amen. As I close, I want to thank everyone for your condolences. I received another condolence from a former church member from Florida. Thank you, Joyce. I hear from my churches in Austin and in St. Peter's and from St. John's. So I appreciate all the love and care that you all have been sharing with me. I look forward to a time when I will grieve or remember. For me, my mother's passing was a blessing because the woman that I knew and loved was wandering around in a place she didn't know, surrounded by people she couldn't remember, even though she was surrounded by people who loved her and cared for her. She knew none of us. So now she's in a place where she can know people. And there's family there for her. So that's a good thing. Now, even though Ellie and I have received our first shot, we know we have to wait till March to get our second shot, March the 2nd. And we both know that even after we get our second shot, we will need to be patient another couple of weeks before we are fully protected, as it were. But the protection starts with the first shot. So we both know that we will continue to practice social distancing. We will continue to use the hand sanitizers and wash our hands regularly. And we will continue to wear our masks, even though we've been vaccinated and we're on our process of receiving that protection. I think of it as our molecules are now starting to wear a mask. So that's a good thing. So continue to practice the protocols for safety's sake, for others. Continue to be a good example. Continue to be a good neighbor. Be a blessing for someone today. Amen.